Brought to you by Hulu. Time to have great original shows and movies. Time to have Hulu.
Hey, what's up, party people? Happy pre-tape day on SJU. I don't know what day it is for you, but for me, it's Thursday. We got a full house here. We got Lon Harris, Danielle Radford, and making her first appearance, Fandom's newest hire, Tiffany C. Welcome, Tiffany.
Thanks.
I believe your title here is Video Wizard.
Yeah. It's official.
Yeah.
It's official.
So you make sure all the video works, among other things, but now it's your first time on camera. And well, it's a Labor Day pre-tape. So speaking of labor, we're talking moms. We already did the animated dad draft last week. So now it's mom's turn. Thanks to Hulu, we'll be chatting about all that stuff. We got some good picks for you. And then Tiffany, you also have I believe we'll call it an ode to Shang-Chi. Maybe, we have some non-spoilery, non-heavy spoilery things to talk about Shang-Chi. Hopefully you've seen it this weekend, but we'll try to steer clear of spoilers. And finally, Ryan is on vacation. So the last section of the script says AMA chat questions, but he left it completely blank. So we will each make up a question for each other in the final round. So put that in the back of your head. Now let's dive right into the draft. This is something we did last time. You know the rules. Sponsored by Hulu. We did the animated dad draft. We'll each draft two, maybe have time for some honorable mentions if we can think of any. Doesn't have to be just TV, but they must be cartoons. They cannot be a real person. So let's go off with you, Danielle. Who's your first mom? Who's the first mom off the board?
The first mom off the board. So I've got two here. I'm just going to start with, I think, the quintessential mom. I'm going with, I don't know if she has a name. I'm going with Bambi's mom from Bambi.
Wow, too soon.
Too soon. I think, obviously Bambi's mom's death is like a huge, sorry for spoiling Bambi for any of you who haven't seen it
I hope you saw it this weekend.
Yeah, I was like,
I hope you saw it this weekend. But yeah, so Bambi's mom's death was obviously a huge part of the movie. It was a major catalyst. And so I just feel like it's one of those things where it's like, yeah, she's not really like interesting or cool, but what she is super dead, and it's really important. It's like, because at least in this one there's so many dead Disney moms. At least in this one we got to like see the moms
spend
before.
a little time together.
Get a little bit of time.
Researching this, there were so many orphans in animation that it's slim pickings. So yeah, great choice. And they're an invasive species, so sometimes you got to thin the herd. I don't know. I would never shoot anything.
I would never shoot anything.
I feel like you've kind of missed the moral of Bambi a little bit. I feel like that's not exactly what the movie is saying.
What is the message of Bambi, Lon?
Nature. Look how how well we have drawn it.
That's a good point.
Yeah.
Solid pick. Not too much to say, unless Danielle, you want to elaborate any more, or should we move on to mom number two?
No, I think it feels like if we're doing animated moms, it just feels like we have to have Bambi's mom in there, just because, like, again, I do think that she is the quintessential dead Disney mom. I think that we have to at least give a mention,
a cultural touch point for sure.
Yes.
Can't talk animated moms without El Bambino, R.I.P. All right, Lon, you're up next. Who's your mom?
Who's my mom?
Who's your mom? And what does she
do? Lovely woman, lives in Daytona. No, we'll talk about my animated favorite moms. I want to start with Linda Belcher from Bob's Burgers. We hit Bob. I feel like it's only fair if we're going to talk about Bob, we also talk about his better half, Linda. What a fun mom. I feel like Linda's really trying. She's not just trying to like raise the kids right and take care of them and look out for them. She's also trying to like give them a whimsical, delightful childhood. And that's it's a very rare thing in family TV shows where they're often about how much the family like hates each other. And like, she very much like loves her family and only wants to spend time with them and celebrates all the weird little things about them and makes up tons of songs. The singing might get old after a little while. I will admit, week after week, always a new song. I don't know if I'd be into it, but overall, I think it would be a lot of fun to have Linda Belcher as a mom, and there you'd always be having some fun new adventure.
Yeah, I mean, I haven't seen all of Bob's Burgers, but she seems like a good break from the like beleaguered housewife trope that she actually gets in there and gets some comedy beats too.
She's not Marge Simpson, like with her hair falling out, huddled in the corner, like I can't take this anymore. She's like where she wants to be. She's the less harried version than Bob, which is a nice switch. Yeah.
Also, she's like quintessential wine mom. Like,
yes,
she's
always a little
yeah, like it's definitely wine o'clock for Linda Belcher, which is something that I love.
Yeah, goes great with burgers. Okay, Tiffany, who is your mother and what does she do?
My mom choice. I'm gonna go with Nicole Watterson from Amazing World of Gumball. I don't know. It's one of my favorite shows. It's so good. I don't know why, but she's a working mom. She's basically handling 3 kids. One's adopted, like a goldfish that comes to life. And then her husband, who's pretty much a deadbeat and kind of just doesn't know how to handle life, is another child. So she's just like always at a breaking point. So she always has like those moments where she just completely rages, which I think is, I think it happens, but it just makes it more fun. But in the end, she really cares about the family. Like she'll defend them. She'll fight. Like, I think it's hilarious when she does like kung fu fighting. She's super strong. She'll flip a car. It's all for the family.
I always get this show confused with Chowder, which I loved.
Chowder was so good.
How good was Chowder? I don't want to just derail this and talk about Chowder, but
well, this is the one. Yeah, I believe that I haven't seen a lot of Gumball either, but this is the Cartoon Network one where it's animated characters that there's like
real life stills. Yeah.
Okay, backgrounds.
Yeah.
All right,
yeah.
I have seen.
I don't know why. It's just so well thought out. There's just the characters themselves are just hilarious. They each have their own just like true personality, and it's just like look at her, she's raging. How could you not want that as your mom? You
it's
want
one of those
on
shows
side.
that like presents as a kid's show, but then you watch it for a little while and you're like, wait a minute, this is aimed at me. Maybe not me.
It's the best. I need a new one of those, so throw it on the queue. Man, my queue's getting long. But I will give an ode to a mom and really the actress behind her, R.I.P. Jessica Walter. I'm going with Mallory Archer, Archer's mom, and basically animated Lucille Bluth. I mean, they're a little different, but they're both, there's acerbic alcoholics who are pretty detached from reality. But I think Mallory's a lot more deadly, and she's more of like self-made than Lucille. Lucille is like she's kind of the person behind the guy, kind of pulling the strings, but she's like very out in the open, like I'm gonna say it, she's a girl boss. She's a hashtag girl boss. And she will kill you. As she says, I killed 7 crowds with a shovel, so one more won't make a damn bit of difference. And then stabs a man with her high heel, and that man worked for her. So yeah, she's just like the ultimate. She's got like just the best burns, the best like single line takedowns, and can just completely eviscerate you. And she has a very uncomfortable, boundaryless relationship with her son, but you know what? She's a provider. She gets shit done, and she and the woman behind her are my number one mom pick that I could just watch. I could just watch compilations of like her best insults all day, and you don't get that a lot in mom characters.
No, absolutely 100%. I almost went with Mallory because I love this character so much. And I love that she like built this company. Obviously, like she has put her the son who she neglected for most of his life in maybe a higher position than he deserves to be. It's amazing how much she loves but hates but loves him. But that's also just, it's such a fun, it's so different from what you usually see in mom characters. Like the way that she is, again, so funny. She gets some of the best stuff in the episodes, and she always has something to do. You rarely, again, with so many of these moms, it's just like Marge Simpson, noises, like just like, I don't know, or what are you doing? It's like that very sitcom mom. And in this one, it's like she gets to cause some trouble and be like a well-rounded human, who doesn't just like
she's controlling
live to
everything.
yell at her family. Yeah.
Yeah, she's like the impetus behind everything that's going on in that show. So yeah,
she gets to be. It's like this and the Insidious franchise are the only 2 pieces of modern entertainment that revolve around like older women. Like it's so rare that a character like over 50, over 60 as a woman is allowed to be not just part of a show, but like an active part of the show, like in charge, and like usually even gets to be like sexy in episodes and like date KGB guys, and like it's
And
you know,
Burt
she's like,
Reynolds.
yeah, she's like a well-rounded character, and for a character from that demographic, it's such a crazily rare thing. So that's nice.
And definitely props to the voice talent behind it. She's
Sure.
she's working so it is like just a heightened Lucille Bluth. Like it's just more broad and more unrestrained by TV standards. Because
I feel like there are nuances. There are so like Lucille Bluth is still trying to present herself as like the caring matriarch of the Bluth family, and she just can't help but be acerbic and cutting all the time.
Yeah.
Whereas Mallory is totally given up the pretense of like, I'm a good mom, and is just like, listen, you idiot, go do this.
Totally. Oh, I love her. All right. Danielle, who's mom number 2?
See, and like a lot of in the same vein as Mallory Archer, I am going with Daria's mom, Helen Morgendorfer.
Nice.
Helen is first of all, this is like one of the best shows ever. One of the best animated shows. It's like one of my favorites. And Helen is so good because she is the one running the family. She is the high earner. And she also she cares about her daughters and she loves her daughters. But at the end of the day, Mama's got a career. And as an independent woman of the 90s, in a 90s kind of world, I also feel like it's really nice to have a mom character be someone who is so incredibly career driven, and where you don't feel like the show punishes her for it. Like you don't feel like she's like they're not commenting on it being a bad thing, that she is like so into her career. Love it. But she's really funny.
Yeah. Sorry, it just makes me think about Daria's dad and how stupid
sad he is. Yeah.
sad and dumb he is. Yeah, she's fantastic. And a perfect foil for Daria. And she just like, she kind of reminds me of Hank Hill though, in a way where like she does not relate to her child at all, but she's still there for her. Like she still tries in her way. She tries to be there. Even though they have like nothing in common.
It's just so funny how since the 90s, like this dynamic of like the cynical slacker kid and then like the driven, ambitious, like business mom, like it survived, but it's so different. Their relationship would not play like this today. Although you could still see like there was that movie Moxie, I guess, that was kind of similar or whatever. Like they're still like teenage daughter and mom stories. It's just the dynamic is unique to Daria.
Yeah,
I think, for that era.
Let's see, Lon.
Yeah, let's talk about Elastigirl, folks, or should be Elasti-Woman. I feel like Helen Parr from The Incredibles. I mean, obviously, so much of the focus is on her physical appearance and how into her the entire internet is. I don't blame them. But what I would also like to focus on is she like legit gets her own adventure. She's like a better superhero than Mr. Incredible. She gets her, Incredibles 2 is really focused on her superheroing career. She really feels like an equal part of the, lead superheroes of this family. And that's something you didn't really get from, Fantastic Four, where Mr. Fantastic's often out in front. I mean, literally, her power is to be invisible in Fantastic Four. So this is a nice tweak to that. And, Holly Hunter doing the voice. How could you go wrong there? A great character, maybe the best character in this particular franchise.
Yeah, the transition to her in Incredibles 2 was so smooth and
Right.
went down so right.
That was kind of always the dynamic of like, she was probably the more capable one, but she took the backseat superheroing to raise the family, and Mr. Incredible kind of ended up out front.
Yeah, good stuff.
Yeah.
Any other Elastigirl thoughts, or should we do?
How do you even like be a mom to like 3 kids that just don't have the same abilities? Like, I feel like you have to be very adaptable. Like, how do you even handle like that demonic baby Jack? Like, I just think alone that is a situation that a mom cannot handle on her own.
Hey, 10 times more powers than she.
Yeah.
She's stretched thin. It works on so many levels.
I was just about to say that. Yep.
There you go. Who's got the next mom? Is it Tiffany?
I think it's me.
All right.
I'm gonna go with Mrs. Robinson from Meet the Robinsons, the Disney movie. I don't know why. It's such a good, like, wholesome movie. That whole family alone is just like, it's super quirky. Like, they all have like their weird random things that they're into. Like, there's a superhero that delivers pizza. Like, the whole family's just really into themselves. And then like she just comes in, she's super supportive. She's like a composer for a frog band. So I think that's pretty fun. So she's very creative. So she like brings that out in the whole family, and she's just like, I don't know, just something about her. Like I would want that as my mom. Like sitting at dinner table, food fights galore, just so much fun.
What was the premise of this film? Because I feel like I read this kids' books or something. I know this, but I haven't seen it.
Basically, this kid, he was dropped off at a orphanage. He wants to find out who his family is, but then for some reason, this kid time travels and comes and picks him up by accident. It turns out to be his son, and he basically meets like this whole family, which ends up actually being his family, but he doesn't know.
Whoa. All right, cool. It's pretty trippy for a Disney movie.
Yeah, it's pretty fun. I have to say, it's like one of my favorite Disney movies. It's really wholesome.
Awesome. Yeah, well, I'll take a mom that is pro food fight for sure. That's great.
I didn't know a key schmodown question about this movie, so I went to I rewatched it, or I watched it. So the villain wears a distinctive
oh my gosh,
headwear. What is it?
What is it?
It is does anyone know? Tiffany.
Like specifically what it is?
Yeah, what kind of headwear is he wearing?
I don't know, like what it's specifically called. You talking about the helicopter hat?
It's a bowler hat. He's
a bowler
hat. He's actually identified as Bowler Hat Man.
Oh my gosh!
Wow,
is that the same as Inspector Gadget?
That's
I don't know. He's got like Inspector Gadget's bowler hat is like a rounded top, whereas
it's more of a fedora
Inspector Gadget's right. He's got a flat top.
I guess I'm not a hat person.
And welcome back to the hat draft, folks. Best animated hat.
That's
I picked Trilby. Oh, look at that bowler.
Oh, there it is.
There's the bowler hat, man. Yes, that's exactly it.
Awesome. All right, I will pick my final mom. That would be Nani from Lilo and Stitch. Yes, she's her sister, but she's also her legal guardian, so that counts as a mom to me. I'm counting it.
Right on the edge there.
Yeah.
Okay.
I'll accept it.
Yeah, thank you. The whole movie is about atypical families, and this is a 19-year-old who's barely an adult herself raising a toddler, which is not easy for even the most hardened of adults, let me tell you. And it's just like, it's a great action female-centric movie where like there's a romance, but it's like a little subplot. That surfer dude gets like a few scenes and that's fine. But really it's about her. Yes, it's a sisterhood, but the dynamic seems to be more mother and daughter than it does sisters, just because of the age difference. And they're allowed to be these like a messy, angry, frustrated dynamic that usually Disney characters, especially like Disney women, aren't allowed to be. They're usually handle things with such grace and everything's just like done away in a song. This stuff is done away in like a screaming match and like literally fighting each other. And then like very realistically, like they feel bad about it and they reconcile and they apologize. And like, I don't know, I just like that you see the effort that she puts into this. You know, her life is kind of a mess. Her house is kind of a mess. She has to make these impossible choices between like actually looking after this little girl and like going out to support them where she can't look after the little girl. She just has to go work. It's just a really complex, grounded character in the middle of this movie about, space aliens trying to shoot each other. So she's definitely my pick for the mom that's making the most out of the least, and the doing her best effort award in the mom draft goes to Nani for me.
She definitely gets an E for effort. And the entire movie is literally about her proving that despite the mess that her life is, and she's not a perfect mom, that she's like able to raise this kid with their weird pizza shelf or whatever that thing is that they changed it into.
It was a dryer, but they don't want kids in the dryer. So now it's a pizza storage.
Some sort of pizza storage unit. Bing Rams would not approve.
Bing Rams would not approve. But yeah, so that's one of the things that really stuck out to me, is like so much of her story is like, you are so frustrating and you are such a weird little girl, but I love you so much and we're going to make this work, and I'm going to prove to everyone that like even at my young age I'm able to handle it, and with like my inherent messiness. She's great.
Everything seems to go wrong with her too, like she finally was going to get a job at the market and then the fire happens at the house. Like there's just constant just like things happening for her, and it's just nice to see her kind of overcome those obstacles all the time.
Yeah, she can't catch a break. She gets like the all-time most hardcore Child Protective Services agent to show up at all the worst times. He turned out to be like an alien canonically or something like that. Like
it wasn't. He's like a man in black,
like
right?
an MIB.
Yeah, he's like,
yeah, tough.
He's like an off-brand Man in Black.
Yeah, the odds were stacked against her, but she pulls it out. Well, there you go. I think those are all the moms off the board. Any honorable mentions that obviously Marge Simpson came up, and I do think that she's gotten plenty of hilarious moments over the years.
I think if we were talking worst mom, we would have to talk about Mrs. Potts from Beauty
go
and the
off,
Beast.
Lon. What's your Mrs. Potts?
What really grinds your gears?
First concern here is the child labor situation. I mean, obviously her kid lives with her, but he seems to be expected to be part of the servant, class.
This is medieval France. They
he's
didn't have
taking part in
labor
the kind of, send that kid off to boarding school or something before he has a chance to be turned into a literal.
He's lucky to not be plowing a field.
Not only is he grievously injured, he's chipped. That they call him Chip. They're like mocking his disability. Like that's
a Disney tradition. Like they call Scar. Like no wonder he's evil.
Something horrible and traumatic happened to this, either when he was a boy and he has a horrible injury that got translated into a chipped cup, or while he was a cup. Either way, negligence on the part of ceramic Angela Lansbury.
You'll be found accountable for your crimes, ceramic Angela Lansbury. It's the last thing you do. Yeah, he doesn't have like a head injury, or even a chipped tooth.
I think was it for his teeth?
Yeah, it must have been the chipped tooth, but still, come on.
Come on. Do better, medieval French peasantry.
Yeah, just take a flaw and really shove it in your face.
Well, good for her for being an older mom.
Yeah,
that's true.
Yes,
that's true.
Right.
Yeah,
Much
she
older
must
I didn't realize that.
Adopted or some sort of an IVF situation.
All right. Before we dive too deeply into that, thank you guys for watching. Please like and subscribe and hit the bell so you never miss another thing. We're here even when we're not here on a day off like today. So speaking of a pre-tape, most of us have not seen Shang-Chi. Tiffany, you have, and you have some things you'd like to call out, maybe in advance or of people's watch, or afterwards, that they maybe didn't appreciate the first time through. So give us all your Shang-Chi thoughts. I'd love to hear them.
Yeah, for sure. Like Shang-Chi in general is like such a big moment, I guess, for like the Asian community, because it's the first time we're getting like two of my two favorite things, Marvel and like the Asian culture. So it's just like the nice little tidbits that you see, like, because Marvel is just really good at details, which just makes it so much more entertaining, right? So even in the trailers, just to be spoiler free, since the movie is coming out tonight technically, like the creatures that you see in the trailer. So I don't know if you noticed, like in the trailer, there's this giant like lion thing that like swings and swats somebody into the roof, like in the end fight scene. That technically is a Chinese guardian lion. So I don't know if you like go to a Chinese restaurant or buildings, you always see like two cement like lions outside the buildings. Yeah. Those are actually like meant to protect the, like, I guess the family inside or the business itself from evil. So I thought that was a nice touch to the culture in that sense. Like he's fighting alongside a guardian lion. That's pretty epic, I think. And then of course the dragon, I mean, it's a stereotypical like creature from, Asian culture, but it was really nice to see that, because that creature alone kind of symbolizes power. And I like, when I saw that, I thought it was like, that's going to be pretty epic. Not sure if it's against him or with him, but that's a nice weapon to have, right?
Yeah.
So it's like stuff like that. And then like, just, the movie itself kind of seems like almost a standalone movie. It didn't even feel like a Marvel movie at first when I saw the trailer. So it was like the Kung Fu, the Tai Chi, like that one moment where like you see them kind of swifting across like each other from a bamboo field or like a meadow. It was just so whimsical and like beautiful. And it almost like, I think immediately people just thought, Crouching Tiger, Hidden Dragon, right? The tree fighting scene, there's constant eye contact and it almost felt like a choreographed dance. So that was really nice for me, because like, Tai Chi, it's more, flowy, and like, they were always wearing like the flowy thin apparel. And then Kung Fu is more like combative. So like having those two different dynamics going with each other just felt really cool to watch, honestly. It was really just mesmerizing almost.
Yeah, I mean, you were saying there's multiple martial art forms throughout the film. Do they call that out in the? Well, I'm sorry, I'm drifting into spoiler territory, but I actually like, pull back from that.
I wouldn't say it was a spoiler. Like I think it was in one of the featurettes. Like I didn't even notice. They just mentioned that they just took different martial arts from different regions to kind of fill in the gaps. That's all. So it's just like, I think the main focus was Tai Chi and Kung Fu.
Nice.
So yeah.
Go ahead, Lon.
I was just gonna say it definitely has that look of a lot of the classic like wuxia films, like not only just like the martial arts movies, but the ones that are really like grandiose and kind of painterly. I mean, you mentioned Crouching Tiger, like Hero or House of Flying Daggers. Those were some of the other movies of that era that were like recalling those classic martial arts films. And it is really cool to see that style mixed in with the traditional Marvel sort of fights. It's definitely a new twist on these, we talk a lot about how these fight scenes, like they're great, they're well shot, it's fun to see these characters, but there's a genericness that's set in after 20 plus movies, and that's exactly like a new kind of flavor to add that you can mix it up with some other styles.
You just got to bring back those hairstyles, like from like Five Deadly Venoms and stuff like that, where everyone's got the like pulled back. But what other like visual cues should people be checking out to maybe pick up on that they might not have noticed?
I mean, like the costume choices are really nice. Like the costume department did great. Like if you're looking at the image right now, just the headwear, the robe she's wearing is just very traditional. And I almost feel like it looks like it's silk, to be honest, which I think is really cool because that's what they normally made clothes back then. So it just had a nice flow to it. So like every movement they made, like you could actually see what they were doing and it kind of went with it. So I thought that was really nice. And like even in the trailer, they kind of mentioned like I think it was like the bus fighting scene that they posted. They were going after like his jade pendant, which is cool because every person that I've known in my friend or family, like we all wear jade. Like it's just something that you kind of wear to kind of hone in, luck, and it kind of keeps you from harm. So it's like a protective stone, I guess you would say. So I kind of thought that was really nice. And like even him just wearing red constantly, that's such a, it's like the color of luck is mostly what it's known for in Asian culture. So I thought that was really nice, like tidbit to have like include. So just like that, and like the architecture, like when you just look at it, you feel like you're watching a kung fu movie. Like it doesn't seem anything like a typical Marvel movie. So it's just like the grass huts, the pagoda looking, the courtyards, and it feels nice because it kind of, when you go to Asia, you see those exact architecture still to this day.
Interesting. No, I don't want to drift into spoiler territory, and I've managed to stay spoiler free. But like, this doesn't take place in ancient times. This is like a present day set film. So can you talk more about like maybe the more contemporary cultural stuff that's in there?
Yeah, for sure. So the scene where I guess it's like when the helicopter is like hovering over and like they slam through the glass, and I think it's like the scaffolding fight scene. That's like Macau. So I don't know if you guys ever like gone or heard, but it's basically, I would compare it to the Vegas of Asia. And I honestly think it's even more extravagant. So like outside of it, it's just like, night markets, like little cities and little towns, like mom and pop shops. And then you get to like an epicenter where it's just like high rises, like lights and like golden fixtures. Like they have dragons like in the courtyard and everything. It's just like Macau is like the place to go for Vegas experience in Asia. So it's really nice that they had that, like the
in
modern
Skyfall, that Bond film, that's in Macau, where when he goes to that like really elaborate floating casino.
So sounds it's fun. Like just seeing that, and then I think it was like one of the featurettes, like you just see Shang-Chi, his character, kind of like walking through Chinatown of San Francisco, which is really nice because like a lot of my friends walk through that. Like a lot of their parents like grew up taking them to like markets and like eateries there. So it's just like a nice like callback to all those like nostalgic moments, especially like Asian cultures. Like it's just something relatable, not only to like myself or like my parents. Like when my mom saw that, she's like, oh, we've been there, we took you there. I was like, that's really cool. Like something my mom can relate to me in a Marvel movie is kind of interesting.
Oh, that's awesome.
Yeah. So like small things like that, or like even Macau, she's like, we were there, don't you remember? I was like, yeah, I remember, but that's crazy that what they're trying to like show off to people. So that's pretty cool.
That's great. Yeah, and you said that he's wearing at some point he's wearing armor but still has his Jordans on.
Did you notice in the trailer, like I think it pans on him, like when he lands on the ground, he's literally just wearing Jordans, which I think is hilarious because
that's great.
Everything else is super traditional.
I mean, between him and Miles Morales, like we got a lot of sneakerheads in the superhero community.
You're gonna be changing your shoes mid-battle. You just,
it's just funny because you could change everything else but not the shoes.
Yeah, with what you got on.
Well, that's gotta be the shoes.
The shoes. It's all about comfort.
I'm curious if you so I take it you maybe didn't feel the same way about something like Mulan or like other, or like Iron Fist.
Oh gosh,
nobody felt this way about Iron Fist. Even Finn Jones doesn't feel this way about Iron Man.
I can't. I don't know. Personally, I didn't watch the live action Mulan because I just felt like it wouldn't do the original justice. So I just couldn't.
Yeah.
I really just couldn't.
Yeah.
But I mean, it still had the same aesthetics like from the trailers I saw, but just like personal reasons, I can't watch this.
Yeah, yeah, you're not missing out.
Yeah. So I've heard. So I'm just like, good call.
Well, there you go. I think that's something to look out for either on your first watch or your rewatch of God, how am I forgetting the name of Shang-Chi?
Shang-Chi.
Yeah, you know, the movie we've been talking
Ten
about.
Rings.
Because I think those details, it's a good sign. It reminds me of that tale of like Led Zeppelin where it's like, oh, they need to separate all the brown M&Ms from the M&Ms, and that wasn't because
Van Halen. I think it's
Van Halen. Yeah, it's apocryphal, but it's like they don't do that because they don't want those M&Ms. It's because if they did that, then they know that they got everything else right that they asked for. So it's like if they get the details right, you know that they probably did a good job with the rest of the film.
It's also so nice for this property because this particular Marvel property has such an ugly, gross backstory where they tied it into Fu Manchu and all this very dated Orientalist kind of stuff that we're not into anymore. So it's such a cool opportunity to do a hard reset and like make it actually feel more, sort of organic to Asian culture and putting a bunch of Asian people in it and getting them involved behind the camera. It's like it's a very cool way to sort of take the same character but completely rework the gross version of it that we used to have.
Yeah, for sure. I think it's gonna do this. It's gonna do the same as it did for Black Panther. I feel like that movie was such an epic thing for that community. I feel like this is gonna be it for the Asian community.
Well, there you go. So yeah, you don't need to ask us twice to see it, but we will. I'm sure we'll be talking about this movie more in the future, and we'll have you back on to break it down. So speaking of which, again, we did not get any chat questions because this is pre-tape, and Ryan went on vacation before he put any in the script. So I think we should each ask Tiffany something.
Oh no,
because we don't know when we'll have you again. But I'll make it easy. What's your favorite film, Tiffany? What's your favorite movie?
Ooh, okay. My favorite, it's a tie between Jurassic Park and The Mummy.
Oh, those are fantastic answers.
Those are my two all-time favorite movies, but I have to say Shrek is up there too because I could quote that. I could quote that for days.
Oh, give it the Shrek ignition it deserves.
Yep.
Shrek,
You're welcome, y'all.
Did you just claim Shrek ignition right now?
We went there.
That sounds like
something. That. All right, who else has a Tiffany question?
I have a question. Of course, this is going to be the question I ask. What is your favorite bad movie?
Oh God, National Treasure.
Yeah.
Is that a bad movie?
It's like one of those movies that you don't go looking for, but if it's on TV, you're just like, I have to watch this.
That's fair.
Yeah.
I like unashamedly enjoy National Treasure. Like I would not have even thought of it in my bad movie.
I think that's it.
My question, Ryan left us without any AMA questions because he went on vacation. If you could go on vacation anywhere in the world next week, where's it going to be?
I would say Egypt, honestly. I really love Egyptian history and mummy stuff. So it's just like, that would be the place to go, I feel like.
And as you, of course, know, Brendan Fraser's Mummy based on a true story.
Heck yeah, and I hope Brendan Fraser's there to meet me and guide me through this. I don't know if I could deal with that nonsense by myself.
Oh, don't we all? All right, well, thank you, Tiffany, for joining us. I so much appreciated for your insight and for talking about silly cartoon mom stuff. And that's the kind of promise we can make, that we will always do silly cartoon mom stuff on SJU. So we'll see you tomorrow or maybe the next day. My days are getting confused because it's pre-tape. And we'll be back doing something the same or similar. Thanks, guys, for watching. We'll see you soon. Bye-bye.
This episode was brought to you by Hulu.